Hey, this is Drew at Citizen Coder, and today I want to show you how to make custom melee weapons. I've already recorded this once, but the audio wasn't great, and I had to play around with OBS to figure out how to get some decent sound quality. So hopefully the sound on this one should be a good bit better. But let me know in the comments. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is, if you haven't already, is set up a project with a character. If you haven't, you can go to my channel. I've got a couple of videos on, basically going through a setup, so you can follow those. But since I've already got that, what I'm going to do is you're going to want some kind of weapon. We're going to do a two-handed melee sword. You're welcome to do whatever you want, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to open my prefab, okay, and I'm going to drag that weapon onto the scene. All right. And then I'm actually going to drag this away from the character a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so then I'm going to want to kind of get a straight on view. This is always kind of a pain in the ass for me. I can't ever remember which way to turn it. Let's try that one more time. Okay, I think I got it there. Oh, nope. Hold on, got it. There it is. The grid. I need the grid. Okay, head on. There we go. Perfect. All right. So then the next thing we're going to do is we want to right click the sword that you've drug into the view. Okay, you're just going to right click it, and you're actually going to go to prefab and unpack completely. And the reason we're doing that is we're going to make sure that there's no collision already added, nothing like that. And then you're going to want to make sure that this static box is unchecked. Okay. Before we move on, the other two things we're going to want to do for this is we're going to make sure that this here, this drop down, is set to pivot. A lot of times it's set to center by default, so you want pivot. And then you want this set to global, not local. Okay. All right, so now that we've done that, we're going to go back to the sword in the hierarchy. We're going to right click it. We're going to create empty. That's going to give us an empty game object. We're going to call that parent weapon mesh. All right. And we're creating it inside the sword. Okay. So you're right clicking the sword, you're setting that. But then you're going to turn around and drag this outside the sword. Okay. And then once you've done that, you're going to drag the sword inside the parent mesh. Like so. Okay. All right. Okay, so we've got those two things. Right now they're on pretty equal level. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put this parent weapon mesh in the center of the sword. Okay. So you're actually going to select the sword itself, not the parent weapon mesh, and you're going to drag this down. I'm just going to pull it back up so I can see. Actually, I'll just drag this. Maybe, well, I guess that didn't do too much. Okay, so then you're going to hit the parent weapon mesh, and you can see that it's moved up. Okay. And we're going to move it, pull this down some more. Just try to put that parent weapon mesh in the center a bit more. Do that. Okay, all right, that looks pretty decent. We'll go with that. Okay, so now that we've done that part, what we're going to go ahead and do is make a weapon out of this thing. All right, so we're going to go up here to Game Kit Controller. We're going to scroll down and create new weapon and create new melee weapon. Okay, so we've got that open. So now we're going to drag this parent weapon mesh into the new object mesh. And we're also going to want to select this and change it to sword two hands, or whatever weapon you wound up making. Then you're going to want to name it something. So I'll go with super duper sword. Name it whatever you want. And then add melee weapon to inventory. We're going to make sure that box is checked. And then weapon icon, we want to select this and add an icon to it. Now, if you don't have any icons, you can download some from anywhere and use them. I think these were embedded somewhere in some of the stuff I've downloaded, so I'm just going to click on that one and go with it. All right. Also, if you use durability in your game, then you'll want this checked. If not, I just uncheck it. I'm not using durability in mine, but otherwise you can just leave it. And then you're going to create object. Okay, great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try to get back to a normal viewpoint here. That one? No. I really suck at this. Okay. All right. I'm just going to drag this back up. And okay, there's our character. All right. So now that we've actually created the weapon, we're gonna delete this. Okay. We're just going to get that off the screen so we're not messing with it. All right. So I'm just going to right click it and delete. And we've already created it, so it's actually already saved. Okay, so we're going to go over here and we're going to search for whatever you called it. In my case, it was super duper sword. Okay. And then you might show, it might show 3 here. Okay, so the one you're going to want is the one that says prefab asset. Okay, you'll have like 3 of them. You don't need the mesh, and this one we'll deal with later. So this will be the first one. You'll drag that in your scene. If you're not seeing any of this gizmo-y stuff, remember you have to toggle this on. Okay. All right. Okay, great. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to pick this thing up and see how it looks. We're going to hit play. Okay. Now I've got these 2 screens split, so you're probably going to want something like this soon. So you can go ahead and split the screen if you want, make it easier to see both sides. All right, and then I'm just going to go over and pick that sucker up. Oops, wrong button. Pick it up. All right, and there you go. You got a sword. Okay. And usually I wind up having to adjust these a good bit. Because they don't, for some reason, fit the hands too well. But in this case, it actually looks pretty good. But I'll show you how to do it anyway, just to be sure. Okay. Gonna hit pause. Okay. Hit pause. You're gonna go to hierarchy. You're going to go to the melee combat system here. It's under, well, you can see the structure here. All right. So just click that. You're going to make sure this show gizmos checked, and you're going to check this edit weapon transform and then uncheck it. For some reason, and I don't know for sure, but I've tried to edit with it checked and it doesn't work. But it does edit if you check it and uncheck it. And this is actually to let you edit in game, in case you weren't sure. So we've got the game running at this point, and this is checking this is going to let us edit these values. All right. Okay. Check my gizmo. So there's back. Okay. And then you can see we've got this current weapon object transform. So that's what we're working with. All right. So now I'm just going to spin this around and take a look at it. So this is the point, like if you need to adjust your weapon at all, and you could, like I said, it was already pretty good, so I'm just going to leave it. But you can however you need to, okay? And then before you do anything else, you're going to go over here in the inspector and copy transform values, okay? All right, so you've hit that. And then you're going to hit stop on the game. Okay, and then once that's done, you're going to hit this paste transform values. Okay, so the other thing you're going to want to do at this point is check the collider and make sure it's sizing. So if you go over here, you can hit edit collider. That turns it on and off. You're also going to check, make sure the pivot point on that is good. We're going to expand this over here in the hierarchy. I believe it is rotation parent. Mesh. There we go. Okay. So parent mesh. Yep. And then clicking on this lets you see the collider, but it looks like it's already kind of on the pivot point. But if for some reason it wasn't, I'll drag it up. Let's see. There's the pivot point. Okay. So you want the bottom of that handle in that box. So in order to do that, you would drag this parent weapon mesh down, and then you click back on the super duper sword and you see a collision. And then you click back, drag it down a bit more. A little bit more. Apparently I drug it too high. How about that? Pretty close. Tiny bit. Okay, I think that's pretty good. All right, and so the next thing you're going to do is over here in the inspector, you're going to hit the overrides, and you're going to hit apply all. Okay, and so the next thing we're going to want to do is test this out, make sure everything works good. We should have one more step, I think. So we're going to run up here, we're going to pick up the sword. Okay, that looks good. It's fine. All right, and then you're going to push Y, and that's going to put the sword through you. All right, so we're going to use the same steps that we just did to adjust the other thing. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to hit escape to pause the game. Going to drag it down. Okay, we're going to go over to hierarchy, and we're going to go back to the melee combat system. All right, and then with the show gizmo and the edit weapon transform checked, see, this is what I was talking about earlier. With it checked, you can't actually move the box. So you have to uncheck it, which then lets you move the box. I don't know if that's a bug. It might be, I'm not sure, but either way, you check it and then uncheck it, and then it lets you move it. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're just going to place it where we want. In this case, I'm just going to rotate it upward and then bring it out. Rotate it a bit so it's over the right shoulder. I prefer that. You can put it whichever way you want. And then I'll make sure I got it kind of good there. Okay. All right, so that looks pretty good. So then you're going to do the same thing. Before pushing stop, you're going to go over here to copy transform values. You're going to hit that. And then you're going to hit stop. And once it's done logging out, you're going to hit paste. Okay, and that's going to paste it in for you. Okay. All right. So now that that's done, the other thing we're going to want to do is we want to make sure that the collisions on the inventory prefab are good. Okay. So we're going to drag this second one. Sorry. Okay. Going to drag this second one in. All right. And as you notice, the collision box on that is way big. So I'm just going to zoom in here. Probably going to try to get on a flat plane with it. All right. There we go. I got it first time. And then I'm going to go down to box collider and edit collider. All right, and that'll give me these draggable little boxes. I'll move these in. Just kind of tighten that up some. That one down. All right, I'll check it from the side. It's in here. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. All right. Yep. I think that's good. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and actually do the override on this too. So go to overrides, hit apply all, and that'll apply that new adjustment to the box collider. And then we're just going to remove that. Actually, I think I don't know. I need to copy this over. Do that just in case. All right. Then we should be able to delete that one. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and hit play again. Pick the sucker up, and we should be good. Hit Y. It'll put it away. It looks proper. And with that, your sword is all ready to use in your game. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments, or if you have any critique, or let me know about my sound quality, because it was kind of bad the last couple videos, and I just figured out how to get some OBS settings set up so that it sounds better. So let me know in the comments if this sounds any better. And